So everyone's mentored by me, but people would come in and say, I want to see Ellen. Well, Ellen's not busy. You can see Jenny. Oh, well, if I can't see Ellen, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Hey, this is Paul Gough. Welcome back to another episode of the Paul Gough podcast and audio experience. We bring out the best guests from around the world with the best stories of escaping the 9 to 5 of the treatment room. Nobody wants to get stuck there. Today's guest is all the way from Durango in Colorado. It is the very special Ellen Tomsic. Ellen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Ellen's got an amazing story, and I'm going to ask you to tell it. Tell us a little bit about your business, how you got started, what type of business you've got now, and just bring everybody up to speed with what you're doing.
I've been a clinician at this point in time for 35 years. I originally never dreamed I would be a business owner, but in the middle of my career, I found myself unemployed and ended up starting a private practice. And that was 21 years ago. And then it was easy. You just opened a door, built some insurances, and it was easy. It was just me and a partner, and we carried on. And then about 5 to 8 years ago, pre-COVID, things changed and got really hard all of a sudden. And I found myself struggling. And I was still 100% insurance-based at that point in time, and found the business failing. Trying to hire people, not being able to pay the bills with the insurance reimbursement. And then in 2000, found Paul and his organization, started out in one of his first COVID programs. I think it was called Profit Protection Plan, PPP.
PPP, yeah,
I got the PPP money and I joined the PPP program. And that was the beginning of my journey to realize there was a whole nother way to do it. And I didn't know there was another way.
That was what, 2000, that would have been summer 2000. So what appealed to you about that program? Because it was all about cash flow and KPIs and sort of organizing.
I had never tracked a KPI. I'd never tracked cash flow. And to tell you the truth, learning the cash flow forecast changed my world. Changed my world. I was like, now I know where it's going, how it's coming in, how to make it happen.
So you've never done anything like that?
Never tracked anything.
How many years had you been in business at that point?
I started business in 04. So that's
16 years without a cash flow.
Without cash flow, without tracking.
My goodness. How did you not go bankrupt?
Running a PT clinic back then was easy. You just treated patients, built an insurance company, and the money came in.
So it's changed that much?
It's changed that much, dramatically.
In what? And obviously not just in the reimbursement level, but in the sort of process, the friction in between it all.
The compliance is much higher, that what you have to do now than what you had to do then. Again, reimbursement, many companies that I had an insurance contract with when I started in 2004 are paying the exact same now in 2025. And Medicare.
Just out of curiosity, what would have been a typical PT salary in 2005, 20 years ago?
Ooh, 50 to 60,000.
Wow. And now we've doubled.
Yeah.
Holy shit. When you hear it like that, you can see how much pain the world of PT owners.
Right.
So 2005, it was $50,000 to $60,000. They're getting the same money from the insurance company in 2025, but the PTs are probably now asking for 100.
Right, and Medicare is actually paying less.
Gee.
Yep.
Good job you found that cash flow.
I found cash flow and changing my business model.
So let's go into the first few years of business. I tried to break the interview up into not $0 to $300,000. Probably just you, maybe as an admin assistant, small room possibly. Tell me about that phase. Go back to that period of time. And what was life like then? What were the lessons you've learned? Maybe the good old days where it was just you probably, or?
It was actually me and a business partner. So I found myself unemployed from a big hospital system. And in the community I lived in, I actually approached another therapist who had a sole proprietor, and he and I became partners. So it was just him and I in an old house that had been converted into a clinic. And the bookkeeping was shabby. We just brought people in, took them away, or not took them away, but, treated them without really much oversight or much tracking or anything. And in those first 4 to 5 years, we both made good living doing that. It was pretty easy.
Where did the patients come from?
We live in a very small community, and it was both reputation-based.
So name above the door, they came.
The clinic was called his name, and then when I joined it, we used my name because we wanted people to be able to find us. And it was just there was no marketing, all just word of mouth reputation building.
And that got you through that first phase?
Yep. And then we moved into the second phase, which was he was nearing retirement and I was buying him out. And that's when we started realizing that we needed to do a bit more. And I actually tried a couple different consultants who helped me a little bit in trying to figure out how to track things or, follow metrics, and really struggled with bringing people in, trying to fill their schedules, because they were coming in to see me and or my partner, and then he retired and it was just me. And I had a really hard time keeping a second person full. So I actually had a couple years of fairly low or no profit in that middle ground.
Because reimbursements?
Reimbursements, and I didn't have the skill to be able to keep another therapist full.
What revenue was this at this point?
We were probably in the $500,000 to $600,000. So there was a transition that I hadn't learned yet of how to just be me in reputation to build a business.
And fill up a caseload.
And fill up somebody else's caseload.
So next phase comes along. We're into it now. The staff come along. What's the lessons between, let's say, $300,000 and $1 million? What is it? If somebody, let's do it like this. Somebody watching this right now is at $250,000 and is thinking about crossing that $300,000 line. What pain are they going to experience? Or if somebody is at $600,000, what pain are they experiencing? Put a label on it.
Well, I think in terms of trying to get another therapist full off of your reputation is pretty difficult.
Off your reputation.
Off of my reputation, yes. Is difficult without learning the marketing skill of how to market the clinic and the program and the outcome versus just Ellen, because they all wanted to see Ellen. Yeah. And what was the craziest thing is I have a real strong mentoring program. So everyone's mentored by me, but people would come in and say, I want to see Ellen. Well, Ellen's not busy. You can see Jenny. Oh, well, if I can't see Ellen, I'm going to go somewhere else. And you're like, but Jenny's been mentored by Ellen, so that's the next best thing. But if I can't see Ellen, I'm going to go down the road, which I never really quite understood.
Is Ellen there? No, she's not there either. Well, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
So we did a lot of mentoring, and then we started learning marketing skills and conversion skills. We had to learn a lot of how to have conversations at the front desk. We used to be in that phase. Hi, this is Tomsic Physical Therapy. Yes, we take your insurance. Let's get you on the book. There wasn't any nurturing or relationship building other than what was organic.
So what happened next? How did you start to move through that?
So it was a painful year or two where I knew I needed help, and I'm coachable and I like being coached. And so I spent a year or two trying some different coaching, and then things were going pretty okay to not great in the late teens. And at that point in time, I had bought my first kind of add-on machine, and I bought it the week before the world shut down. And all of a sudden, there was nobody there. I just spent $20,000 on a new piece of machine. I couldn't figure out how I was going to pay my staff. And there was all this marketing material being pushed to me from the Gough organization. And that PPP program came through. It was online. I thought, what do I got to lose? Let me just give this a shot. And I realized through that program, because there was, I think it was like an 8-week program.
For what I remember, it was 4.
It was longer than that.
Well, it's 6.
But there was a section on cash flow, a section on marketing, a section on staff building, And I finally realized that, okay, these are the pieces that are missing. And if I'm going to actually grow a business that's more than a sole proprietorship, I needed to learn these skills. And that's kind of what turned it around. And I'm still a student. I'm still learning every day. I haven't mastered any of it, but it's a whole heck of a lot better than it was.
I think, and I tell you this all the time, you don't give yourself enough credit. For example, Medicare's dropped, okay, so insurances are on the decline, but you fought back with wellness, with workshops, with memberships, concierge inside of the practice that has kept you in the black. I think there's many people who in your situation would have just either tried to work harder and done 15-hour days to try and keep up with the drops and the cuts and the demands of pay requests and rent rises and various things. But you fought back there, and I'd love to talk to you a little bit about that. What about your first workshop? You hadn't done anything, had you, up until recently?
I'd never done a workshop. So the first things I did before workshops is once I kind of got into this organization, is I started dropping insurances. It was the very first thing I did, and I've dropped 1 or 2 insurances every year, and I'm at 50% cash pay, 50% insurance now. And then I created a Medicare concierge program so I could continue to see that population, and that's been a lifesaver, actually. And then I started workshops last year, and that's actually been really good, much more successful than I had anticipated.
What was the doubt?
That people would show up, that people would listen to me, that people would see me as an expert. People would buy, just the whole list of doubts. And the first one was completely nerve-wracking. The second one was better. And now I realize that, people are not coming to mock me. They're coming because they want solutions, and they're looking for answers that are a little different than maybe what they've gotten from somewhere else.
Tell me about your first workshop. What was the topic? How many people showed up? What happened?
The first workshop, I chose low back pain because it's an easy topic for someone like us to talk about. And I thought nobody was going to show up. And we had 40 some odd people register, to the point that I didn't have enough space in my clinic, and I had to split it into 2 separate seminars. So I do mine in the evenings during the week, and I ended up having to do one on Tuesday and then a repeat of it on Thursday. And people paid attention, and they asked questions, and they were engaged. And I was so afraid that I was just going to be standing at the front of the room talking to a whole bunch of bored people. But they were engaged. I asked questions like the coaching asked me to, and I got their stories, and they wanted to tell their stories, and they were quite enthralled with the information I was able to share with them.
What about the wellness side of your business then?
So that's something that we have created within the last year. We've brought in massage, Pilates, stretch therapy, and personal training. And then we brought in the regenerative medicine of StimPod. And that was a bit of a slow rollout. Finding these practitioners and getting them bought into our story has been a little bit of a challenge. But we ended up doing just our last workshop was what we called a Wellness Saturday open house. And so what we did is we had a 4-hour open house, and we had 8 stations with all of these different services, and did taster sessions, and then offered all of these wellness packages, and actually was quite successful. And then what we're doing right now is we do have kind of these wellness packages, but now we're actively marketing wellness journey after your physical therapy, and we're starting to talk about it at the beginning of their plan of care. Now, when you finish therapy, we want to keep you healthy, and so this is what we want to do when you finish, and we have these services, and kind of like what Paul's talked about, 1 patient, 3 services to kind of keep them in the family.
What about your challenges of getting out of 9 to 5? Because you don't treat us as much. It's more of a if you want, or it's a choice. Tell me about everybody wants to see Ellen in Durango. How do we navigate that?
There as Paul has talked about in our CEO work, is that there is a bit of an ego involved with it, because it's nice to have people say you're wonderful and I want to see you. And so there was that first emotional challenge to be willing to have people see somebody else. And even though I'm mentoring my staff, they don't have 35 years worth of experience. So sometimes I watch and I'm like, oh, that might not be exactly what I would have done, but it's good enough and the patient is getting better along that way. And then one of the biggest challenges I had was the people who I have to see Ellen. And the way I worked that is we did a co-treat together. So it was me and the other therapist with the patient. And then so the patient had my assessment and quote unquote blessing, and then they followed up with the other treating therapist. And that's been the most successful way. And then giving my front desk the power to stand up to people and say, no, Ellen is not treating more patients. And then for me, when the patient calls me because maybe they've been a friend or something, for me to have the strength to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not taking more patients. Because for the whole first year, I would cave in and say, oh, yeah, Susie, I know we've been friends for 20 years. Yes, I'll see you. And then she comes in and it's the end of the day and I'm tired and I'm like, oh, why the hell did I say that? So it's a journey, but but I get the front desk on board and then I have to be comfortable with saying no.
Yeah, interesting. Concierge membership.
That's what we did with Medicare. In order, we had to make a conscious decision in our clinic whether to completely drop Medicare or continue to see that population and add the concierge program in. And we, because our clinic is moving into a wellness model, we chose a wellness model. So we have monthly memberships, which adds in massage and stretch and Pilates, as well as our online recordings of our seminars and things like that. And then when they finish their plan of care, they get one visit a month as part of their concierge membership to check in with the PT. And that's been actually quite successful in our clinic. The hardest part is it's a paradigm shift for people to think that I have Medicare, and many people think, I have Medicare, so why do I have to pay more? And some people are a little upset about it and kind of take it out on the front desk. But for the most part, people say to me, don't apologize for trying to stay in business and we want to come see you. So yeah, we're going to pay for it.
I can't help but think if they're as upset as a PT who hasn't had a reimbursement rise for nearly 20 years.
Right.
There's no other way. There's no other way to navigate what's been done, if you like, for the last 2 decades to the profession. And I think every effort that's been applied and almost exhausted, if you like, to get some fair ground between, look, give us this much money or reimburse us this, to just keep it. It's not like everybody in the PT profession is trying to be multimillionaires. They're trying to make a fair living for a fair day's work. And now it's got to the point since COVID where this thing has gone beyond any reasonable doubt that this is just, it's not even unfair, it's just flat out. It's ridiculous how bad it is. So I think what you're doing is very courageous, it's very smart, it's very inevitable. And I keep saying this to you, I don't think you realize how much of a trendsetter you are. People talk about concierge, they talk about wellness, they talk about workshops, but they don't do it. And you're doing it. And as a result, you've got a clinic that would be in a significantly, probably a world of hurt, as I like to say, if you hadn't done it.
It would be in a world of hurt because the STEM pod, the concierge, the wellness programs are what keep us in the black. Because when I look at the numbers and if I was just a straight PT clinic, we wouldn't be making.
Almost impossible.
Yeah, we would definitely have to have dropped Medicare and not seen that population. And it's really interesting. So when the people are a little upset at the front desk, I'm like, well, the other option is we dropped Medicare, so I wouldn't see you anyway. And they still don't really get it.
Yeah, there's a heightened kind of nervous system response to Medicare and the ability to pay in insurance when I feel like I'm entitled to it. We had it in England in my clinic where people, obviously national health system, socialist medicine, pray you never get it, by the way. I paid my taxes. And in the irony was even many people who hadn't worked and hadn't contributed to the system still believed that they should get this thing free. It was like this inbuilt, sort of genetic thing of a British person that you should get healthcare for free. So when I came along and said, hey, this thing's available and you can come whenever you want and you can see whoever you want and you're going to get some really good treatment and you'll have flexibility and choice and time and people will remember your name, all of the things that the National Health wouldn't do. but you're going to have to pay for it, there's an immediate nervous system response because it's a philosophical, you're tapping into a philosophical, almost entitlement mentality, and that needs carefully handling. Question I've got for you, and I think I've ever asked you this as many times as we've met and all the years I've known you. What motivates Ellen? What drives you on? I think it's phenomenal what you do, and the energy that you bring to your business. What's the driving force?
I know this is kind of crazy to say, but after 35 years, I still really like treating patients. I like complicated patients that have failed somewhere else that I can figure out and give hope to. That's why I still treat 10 hours a week. And that's why usually my caseload is complicated failed patients. And that's really fun. And that makes me want to have a business that I can do that in.
Yeah.
And then the second is I'm fairly passionate about training the next generation of good clinicians. We know that there's some clinicians that maybe might not be as good as others, and I'm trained in residency and fellowship in manual therapy, and I'm a certified training facility. And being able to help a young clinician grow and see their potential and what they want to do is still fun.
Nice.
You know, when I'm not tired, it's still fun.
What about the actual running of the business then? Do you enjoy that? Have you learned to enjoy it?
I do enjoy it. I actually really like the financial pieces and the cash flow and trying to figure out how to make X and Y and Z work and what does it look like. And that's really fun too. I do enjoy that. I do enjoy being a business owner, I think, and the autonomy that comes with it. As always, sometimes there's some personnel and staff challenges that tend to bring you down a little bit, but I think if I can balance them out with the other pieces, I am obviously still a business owner, so it's still on the above line.
Yeah. What about the responsibility? Do you enjoy that?
I do. Yeah. I am inherently a responsible person, and I often feel like I can do a better job than other people. So, so I enjoy being in charge. I enjoy being able to make decisions, being able to direct how things go. I'm much better at it now than I was 10 years ago.
Tell me about the lifestyle that you've got. I'm always in awe of your trips and your skiing and the fun that you have. Tell me, have you made a conscious effort to build your life around the business, or is that something that you've had to work hard at? Because you like to do your trips to Europe and go with your husband and lie down on the way there.
I mean, and that's part of owning a business, is having the flexibility to do what you want. We often feel tied to the business that we can't get away, but once you figure out you can get away, you can figure out how to work it. So, no, we've chosen our lifestyle very deliberately.
So from the get-go?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody's watching this, they're just starting their business, there needs to be a deliberate attempt from the get-go that this business gets built around the lifestyle, not the lifestyle is just what's left over.
Right. Yeah, we chose to live where we live because of the lifestyle that we wanted. We wanted rural, we wanted mountains, we wanted skiing, we wanted rivers, we wanted bikes, we wanted all of this stuff. And so that's the lifestyle we chose. My husband chose a career that was quite flexible. At the beginning, I wasn't as flexible as I am now, but it's very deliberate. We take 1 or 2 international trips a year, one for sure skiing. We get out into the backcountry, we raft, we ride, and those are the things that we really love.
Where was the river you've just been? I'm going to check that out.
We were on 2 trips this summer. One on, we live in Colorado again, so the Yampa, which is in northern Colorado. And then the other one was on the Green River through a place called Deso Gray Canyon. So I can give you some other
check that out.
Because you can do commercial trips on them. You don't have to row your own boat.
Yeah, sounds amazing. What's next? What's the future?
Well, right now I am working on really building the wellness programs, as well as I need bringing in one more PT to kind of fully staff the clinic up. Mm-hmm. And then starting to work on an exit plan.
Good for you. It's got to be the goal for everybody. And again, for wherever anybody's starting, there's no point in starting a business, I don't think, unless there is a plan to sell it. It might be in 5 years or 10 years, whether that's licensing, whether it's selling out to a partner who might want to take it over, or offering it to a big company that might want to come in and take it on. I think that's inevitably the payday, if you like, that we are not not entitled to, because that's the wrong word, but there's got to be an inevitability to that. I've built it well. If I've built it well, I've enjoyed it. If I've enjoyed it, I've probably made some money from it. And if I've made some money and I've enjoyed it, somebody probably wants to buy it off me at the other end. And there should always be, for every business owner listening, there should be at least $1 million kind of payday at the other end for somebody to come in and take the equity, the asset that you've built from you, that over the last 5, 10, 15 years has paid you cash flow, some business owner benefits, your insurance, and all of your other things that it's been able to fund. So I think the ambition to one day exit, it's got to be the goal of everybody watching. Ellen, wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're amazing. You're doing fantastic.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Hey, this is Paul Gough. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking for even more, be sure to head over to Amazon and you can find my 7 best-selling books for physical therapists in private practice. Head over to Amazon and find me now.